Memphis out there. That's why he's a billionaire. Smart man.
Slide in there, squeeze box.
Turn the camera, ding dong. You don't need the wall. You don't need the wall in there.
Oh yeah. Woo! Man, that's been heck on wheels. We got the thumbs up. We've got nobody on
Here?
the Jessica.
All right. Now here we go. We're back.
Back.
How about them aces?
Hey, Jake's on. Tim's on.
Hey,
Ken Burns.
everybody.
Hey, guys. The
Sorry
Wi-Fi.
about
We're having unbelievable Wi-Fi troubles here.
Sorry about
Unexpected. New place, new problems, getting them ironed out. That's what the early season's for, right?
Yep.
That's why we play these games.
That's why we play these pregame,
Preseason games.
preseason crapola games.
We're letting some people get on here, guys. Thanks a lot. Bill's on, Ken's on, Tim's on, Jake's on, Jessica.
You people are not going to be able to sleep without us. We know it. We know it.
Well, we appreciate you guys.
Yes, we do.
I am.
Let's talk about Yogis. How excited we are.
We
I'll
are
tell you
coming
what,
to you live from Yogi's.
If you want to see any former players, just come to Yogi's after the game. This is the obvious hangout. Jeff Newton, George Leach.
Who will be on with us shortly. Vicky, James, David, how are you guys doing, man? Appreciate you. Joe, appreciate you as well. Yeah, we're going to have Todd Leary's with us, of course. I'm Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. Todd Leary, after the game, Todd Leary. We're going to have George Leach going to join us for a brief moment if they're still here.
Jeff Newton, George
Jeff
Leach
Newton,
are both
they're here, former IU basketball players.
Final Four, 2002.
It wasn't me. Tim said, don't let me touch anything.
Yes.
It was not me, I
was
promise
Tim.
you.
Tim, you are correct.
It was not. This has been an unbelievable problem. Wow. We're getting it shared out there. Jake's taking care of that, I believe. How about those Wildcats? Talk about that Kentucky game, man.
Well, the Aces, I was listening to an interview earlier today on Kentucky broadcast station, and they were talking about national championships this morning after their first victory of the year against, did they play Michigan State? They were talking national championships this morning and how this is the best defensive teams Kentucky has
Jeff.
had since
Hey, Serena,
1996.
Amy, Tim, Steven,
Just be interested to hear that show tomorrow.
Steve,
Be a good one.
Bill, Jennifer. Jennifer says, looking forward to the game Saturday. Go Hoosiers. On a side note, McCarty is my second favorite Harrison grad. There's that. Yeah. I didn't realize he went to Harrison.
Yep.
Not Chaney, but McCarty.
Yep, both of them did.
That's something.
Isn't it?
We're about to get going here, folks. Letting everybody join on. How about that upset, though, man? That's a shocker.
That's a big one. I mean,
That's
going
just
back
a
home,
shocker.
yeah.
They're number one in the country. They're at home in Rupp Arena, 23,000 people. That's crazy.
That's like going into Alabama and beating Alabama in football on their home field
Dylan,
preseason game.
Richie. Bill says Al Durham is still 100% from the line on the year. Really?
What's that?
He says Al Durham is still 100% at the free throw line on the year. Three games, but that's he's gotten. We're going to talk about free throws tonight. Indiana shot the most free throws they've shot since 2013.
Wow. We're going to talk about Trace Jackson Davis at the free throw line.
We're going to talk about, what did he do?
14 of 15.
That's sweet.
14 of 15.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is nice.
About to get going here, folks.
We know people are still up. There's all kinds of good basketball still on. Minnesota and Butler are on. Oregon and Memphis are on. There's all kinds of good games still going on. This is like Maui Classic week.
you got any questions, you can put them up on. If you're following us on Facebook Live on Indiana Sports Beat's page, we can see your comments and questions. If you're not, if you're following on one of the other fan pages, we won't be able to see the comments until later when we go back and read those. But
so don't think we're ignoring you.
Yeah,
we
yeah. If you have a question or a comment, you can send those. If you're not on the Facebook on Indiana Sports Beat Facebook page, you can text those to 812-269-6367. 812-269-6367. You can hit us up on that. Another not preseason. I keep calling them
early season.
Early season pre-conference game for Indiana. Tune-up. I call them tune-up games, and that's exactly what they're for. You said it in the pregame. That it doesn't really matter. All the people getting all jacked up about winning by 11 points or whatever. And let me tell you, who's thinking that more than anybody are Kentucky fans right now.
For sure.
Because that shows exactly what happens. But that makes me wonder why, whether it's Indiana or Kentucky, whoever, are playing these teams that if they played in March, they would beat them by 30. But in November, it's a different ball game. Why is that?
You know, it's this game for Evansville has been marked on their all summer long. It's been circled. It's been marked. These players have been talking about it and thinking about it. They didn't even know Kentucky would be ranked number 1, but they knew they would be ranked really high. And it's their one opportunity to go in and play in a sold out arena against a team that's they watch on ESPN every week as well. And so it's a huge game for Evansville, and I can assure you no one from Kentucky or on Kentucky's team or coaching staff had really had this one marked down as a big game for them. Obviously, the Michigan State game to start the season out was the game they were all geared up for, and they came out and obviously did great and won that ball game. And then they didn't handle success very well because less than a week later they got beat, or exactly a week later they got beat at home to a team that I think everyone would have agreed they should blow out. And you're right, in March they'll probably kill that team. But this time of the year, what these games are for. This is what we talked about in the opening little segment we did at Assembly Hall. Was these games are not just for making sure your offense is executing and defense and those things. It's also to get players, especially younger players and the freshmen, acclimated to what happens on a game day. And the home game days are different than the road game days. And so today, players went to class all day, and then they had a shoot around, and then they had a walkthrough, and then they had a pregame meal, and then they had 2 hours to rest and take a nap or do whatever, and then they show up back at the arena ready to play. That's a different, set of circumstances and a different routine than you go through when it's an away game. So that's what the coaches want them to go through and want them to understand. That's why these Tuesday or weekday games are different than what a weekend game is. And so, that's another one of the things they have to learn. Kentucky obviously probably won't go through the same routine next week that they did today, but that's what coaches are trying to get guys, especially the younger guys, to understand of how to get yourself ready, how to rest yourself, how to, don't be out running around, going to the mall in the middle of the day or doing stuff like that. Rest yourself a little bit. I swear you have to say those things. I mean, coaches, we had those conversations. If we were ever out somewhere, trust me, someone reported it to the coaching staff right away.
When these early season games, they're all against, those 200, 250, 280 Ken Palm teams. When you're in Indiana and those guys, how hard is it to get up for those games, knowing that it's somebody you're supposed to beat?
Yeah, it's not so much that. Truly it's trying to execute, things that are going on. You'll hear the coaching staff talk a lot about, we're working on us, and we want to make sure that we're doing the things that make us better or that make us a better team. And that's not just, a bunch of hoopla stuff. That's not coach speak. That's true, and that's what they're really trying to accomplish. And they're trying to get these guys to understand rotations on defense and all that. It's not so much about the win. Yes, of course, you're supposed to win. It's not that long ago when Indiana fans would have been looking at this game, and especially the way that North Alabama started this ball game. Like, this would have been a game that went down to the wire, and if Indiana lost, it wouldn't have been a crazy shock. North Alabama came out raring to go and knocking down everything they threw up at the rim. and started out 6 of 8 from the 3-point line. That's easily a situation this team could have been down by 10 or 12 points. But Indiana handled it well. The fans and everyone in the stands wants Indiana to come out and be ahead 15-4 and 30-11, and it just be a blowout from the beginning. And that's just not the way it is anymore. You're not. It doesn't always happen that way. And you're dealing with guys that have played high-level AAU. This North Alabama team, I'm sure, has tons of players that have played high-level AAU for years against probably some of these same Indiana kids. So they're not starstruck. They're not. They're coming in here trying to do exactly what Evansville did tonight and kind of shock the system and shock the world and in their eye, in their world. And these guys, it was a huge game for North Alabama to come in here and be able to play in Assembly Hall. They've seen it on TV since they were kids, and so this was a big game for them. And the Indiana players, I thought, handled it great.
Archie used, and he has for all of these games, but a ton of different lineups, rotations, guys in there, different formulas, big, small. Is this just him testing out that, or is this just that you can run anybody in there right now? Or is he looking to see what's going to work 5-6 games from now?
No, I think he's looking to see what's going to work. I don't know. I don't have any inside information. I don't know the reason why Finney hasn't started any of the ball games so far, but I can tell you for the first time he started the second half, and that's probably a sign that we're going to see him start the ball games from here on out, or we may. But who knows? I don't know why he hasn't been starting. I thought he's played great. Could be minutes. It could be they want him in there with a certain lineup. It could be any sort of thing. See, here's one of the things I learned, pretty early on is it's not who starts the ball game, it's who finishes it. And when you play well enough and you play at a certain level, you they can't take you out of the ball game. And so it's not that big a deal who starts it, in my opinion. But Finney is a guy, I think, that it wasn't a fluke last year. He didn't. He's not having a sophomore jinx right now, because I can tell you he's solid out there on the court, and it's tough to take him off the court right now from a coaching staff's perspective.
Yeah, Finney played 22 minutes tonight, 26 minutes in the last game off the bench as well. So that's a lot of minutes off the bench. And if you're going to play that much, I don't understand why he wouldn't start.
Well, but the 29 minutes out of Al Durham is the most on the team, and beyond that, the 22 minutes is the next most. So, everybody played a lot of minutes tonight. I mean, you're looking at 29, 20, 20, 22, 22, 18, 19. So everybody played a lot of minutes tonight. I never really look at that as a big deal. I think they're not trying to get these guys worn out. They're definitely not trying to get them injured. They're trying to get them through some nagging injuries to start the season out. And this is just exactly what I think you would expect. And minute-wise, when you look at what they had tonight, I think that's probably exactly what you'd expect out of Archie Miller this early in the season.
Tom likes the group of Trace Jackson Davis, Justin Smith, Jerome Hunter, Al Durham, and Rob Finney on the floor. It's a good look. That's a group.
There'll be a lot of games. I'm sure that's the starting lineup. I wouldn't doubt that a bit. I mean, they may, depending on who they're playing, may try to throw some more bigs in there and get Joey Brunk on the court. And you may see Jerome Hunter be out of that lineup. But what a great dude to bring in off the bench. I mean, he to me, this is the most comfortable game I think I've seen out of him. He looked comfortable in the rhythm of the offense. He took some good shots. He was only 1 for 4 from the 3-point line, but they all looked good. They were all in the rhythm of the offense. I really thought he looked good tonight. His 3-pointer is he's going to be a guy they look at to make some 3-pointers throughout the season, and I don't think I would have said that going into the year.
Jennifer said she loved Archie Miller's fire, taking the tie off and motivating the team. IU basketball coaching hasn't had that fire in many years. Well, it's easy to have fire when your team's getting beat like it was in the first half. They didn't have a great first half.
Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because of the score, I mean, I'll just say defensively, I'll look at the game film with that and see defensively maybe what they could have done. I couldn't really tell if a lot of those 3-pointers were. There were some contested shots that were made, I can tell you that. And when North Alabama was 6 of 8 from the 3-point line, I know 3 of those had gone down by number 3, and they were contested shots. So they weren't getting wide open looks, but that's part of it. You've got to withstand those runs from teams, and I didn't think they played great. I didn't think they played with as much emotion tonight. If you had to nitpick something, I mean, I thought throughout the game, throughout 40 minutes, I think they gradually got better throughout the game. That's a great sign. I think they played a full 40 minutes. That's a great sign. But I think early in the game, I don't necessarily think that they had, the fire in them. And maybe that's a little bit of what you're talking about. And how do you get excited for a game like this? They're in game 3 of, they got another one Saturday. But weekend games are just a little bit different. The fan base has a little different. Plus, it's 12 degrees outside right now, so the fans weren't really into this one. Even the student section, they didn't want to walk over to the game. It was so cold. So, that's all part of it. We live in Indiana. I mean, this is what January and February is going to be like at the home games.
What did you like from what you saw overall from this team tonight?
I like the fact that they were able to take the punches from North Alabama, and they were some haymakers. I mean, they were throwing down some big-time shots, and when a team is able to make and you could say your defense should have been able to stop them, but when a team is able to make some contested three-pointers and make 3 or 4 of them in a row, that's a lot of points in a row to be able to withstand. A team, you can easily be down 10 points without even blinking. Indiana at one point had shot 16 free throws, and North Alabama had shot 0. I think if you interviewed their coaching staff right now, they'd probably say they got homered quite a bit in this ball game. Indiana shot 45 free throws. I would probably say it seemed a little bit one-sided on some of the calls that were going on, but I like the fact they got themselves to the free throw line.
At the beginning of the game when we did the pregame, I talked about that the size, Indiana's size is so much bigger than North Alabama that they're just going to pound it inside, and they did. Trace Jackson, 15 free throws he shoots, and he hits 14 of them, but he got to the line a lot. That's getting to the line a lot.
It is. That is. Those are big-time numbers. I mean, one, making 14 out of 15 is awesome, but getting to the line 15 times is not an easy thing to do. It's like James Harden type stats you're putting up out there. But, it's a good thing he's putting himself in a position to be able to get those calls. He's obviously working hard and getting his defender in a vulnerable position to where he's getting himself fouled into the line. And, if there's going to complain about some foul calls that were made, it weren't the ones that were against Trace Jackson Davis. It would have been maybe the guard reaches and some of that stuff, but the ones against him were legit, and you give him tons of credit for going 14 for 15 from the line.
One of the knocks on this team in the last couple of years is the inability to knock down free throws. They've just simply not done that. Tonight, that was not the case. You mentioned they went to the line 45 times. They hit 37 of those. I don't have the percentage
82%.
pulled up. That's 82% has got to be the best I can remember for the last 2 years of this team, at least.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it is or not, but
especially with that amount of free throws, that's crazy.
If that amount of free throws, and you're looking at, those freshmen and those young guys shooting a good portion of those. I mean, heck, 14 of 15 from him. Finney only shoots 4 free throws, so it's not like you had your veterans, sophomores, doing the majority of that. It was just an all-around good job of Indiana. It looks like everyone except for Demezi that got in the ball game shot at least 2 free throws. So that's a pretty good sign. And Demezi, for whatever reason, not playing in that last game, he came out in this game and had 10 points on 4 or 5 shooting. That's a positive. Demezi's a guy that can be a real bonus for Indiana. I think defensively, if they can get him to be a bigger impact defensively, I think offensively he's going to help this team if he's out there on the court.
It's got to be a great sign to see a freshman take it to him like that, to get to the line that much. That means he's really active down low. But to convert, that's a lot of pressure. I mean, third game in, his third college game, and again, he's playing pretty veteran. I don't want to say veteran-like, but he's playing beyond his 3 games.
It's pretty awesome when you can have 20 points and you only have 3 for 4 field goals. You have 4 field goal attempts and you scored 20 points. Obviously he was doing some good stuff out there, and like I said, when you put your defender in tough positions, that's a skill offensively. That's something that is not. You don't luck into that. He's physically beyond a freshman, that's for sure. And does a good job of controlling his body, and He doesn't get in a hurry when he's in the lane, and he got rewarded for it tonight. And obviously converting 14 of 15 is big.
Archie said in the post game that they're still not there defensively, but I will have to say in the second half, the Hoosiers held at North Alabama to only 5 of 18 shooting. That's 27%. The 5 field goals, that's the fewest the Hoosiers have allowed in a half since November 25th, 2012 against Ball State when they made 5. That's not bad defense.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I think probably a lot of what he's talking about, and I don't know, just guessing, but if you went back and watched the game film and analyzed that first half, those three-pointers, most of them were contested, some of them were not, and that's probably what he's talking about when they're not quite there defensively yet. And I'm not necessarily sure you would expect them to be there yet defensively, and I'm telling you, I'm going to keep beating it because it was so funny to hear this morning. But the Kentucky radio guys talking about this is the best defensive team Kentucky has had since 1996.
Well, Johnny G's on his way to Lexington to get us some of those 40-0 shirts that they're not going to need.
They're probably cheap.
Yeah,
today.
They're going real cheap.
Probably real cheap. They're on their way to Indonesia.
Hey, Hoosier fans, if you want any 40-0 shirts, Johnny G's on his way to get those, but they may be blue and white. That's the only problem. So, I hear that they're not going to need those there. But Trace Jackson-Davis also led the team in rebounding tonight, 8 rebounds. He's 11 feet tall. He's supposed to lead him in rebounding. And he's a freshman, but he's in double figures again for the second time in 3 games against Sun. Again, we're playing early season games. The competition is not what it will be, but this guy, he hadn't played college basketball before, so pretty impressed with Trace Jackson so far.
No, we should be. You should be. I think we can, if you'd just given us the stat lines for him 3 games into it and just showed us this and we didn't watch him play, I don't think anyone would argue, and everyone would take what they're getting out of him right now. You know what? I truly don't think he hasn't had a breakout game by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they are not really running plays for him, and they're not really running plays for anyone in particular. I think he probably touched it more after the first ball game. We discussed it. I think we would see him touch the ball a little bit more throughout all of these early season games, and I think that's exactly what's happened. The coaching staff must listen to our show, and they're doing exactly what we're giving them the script. They're doing exactly what we tell them to do.
Tim says he didn't like the 23 fouls they committed, but is that an unusually high number for a game that was like tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's a high number in general, and that's probably part of what they're talking about defensively. A lot of that is rotation. A lot of that's being a little bit late. This team had 2 very quick guards. That's generally going to get you an extra 2 or 3 fouls just on, they're that quick, and you've got to help, and you've got to be there and see it early. The rebounding, 28 rebounds for Indiana and 27 rebounds for North Alabama. You talked about it going into the game. Indiana's size is so much bigger. I don't think the 27, that's about what the teams have been averaging against Indiana, but Indiana's been in the 40s the first 2 ball games in rebounding themselves. Now, North Alabama, what they missed? They only missed 26 shots for the game, so Indiana had 28 rebounds. So, I mean, they're up there. The possessions was low. I mean, only 44 shot attempts for North Alabama in this ball game. I mean, that's not as many. Usually it can in the 60s.
If you're just joining us, we're coming live to you live.
Oh,
I'm going to turn this around for a second.
Yeah.
There's a shot of Jennifer. Yogi's coming to you live from Yogi's. If you can see that, great. Enjoying that. Man, if you haven't had a chance to come here yet, you need to get here soon.
We are excited.
Looking forward to that. Al Durham cooled off a little bit tonight. He didn't shoot the ball as much. He only put 7 shots up tonight. He had 3. He had 11 points. He was 2 of 6 behind the 3-point line, 3 of 3 at the free throw line, as was pointed out earlier. He's perfect on the season. That's pretty daggone good. But Al Durham again. That's still a consistent effort. He's double figures again for the 3rd straight game. It's been a good start to the season for Al Durham.
It is. I mean, it's what we expect out of Al Durham. I mean, he's not going to be a 21-point scorer on a regular basis. He'll have games where he scores 20, but that's just not the makeup of this team. They're not a team that's going to have one guy that goes out and averages 20. I just don't see that happening. So If they do, it's going to be Trace Jackson Davis because they're going to be pounding it inside all the time. And I don't see that happening either. So I think it'll be a situation throughout the season where at the end of the year, I think we'll probably see Al Durham as a guy who leads them in scoring more than most of the other guys, but I don't think he'll be a guy that leads them every game in scoring, and I don't think it'll be a situation where they struggle just because he doesn't lead them in scoring. There's plenty of guys that have the ability to, again, Rob Fennessy, again, I'm going to mention him every game. He keeps playing like this, but offensively, I thought he looked very comfortable out there on the court and not in a point guard's position. He was in the scoring guard's position tonight throughout a lot of the game, and 4 for 8 from the field. He scores 13 points, and I thought looked very comfortable out on the court offensively. He's going to be a guy they're going to be able to count on for 8 to 14 points throughout the season.
He was 2 of 4 behind the 3-point line, which you're going to take that most of the time from him. So
when Indiana was only 8 for 21 overall, so we talked about that first game. They only shot 11. The second game they shot 14. We knew they were going to keep edging up until they get to that 23-point attempt mark, and they're there already 3 games into it. And I think that'll be more of the norm. But hopefully they get to where they're maybe 10 of 11 from 21. But I think they're going to be closer to that 18 to 22 3-pointers attempts for every game.
We're coming to you live from Yogi's here in Bloomington. So excited to say that. That's incredible. Look forward to. We'll be back here on Saturday, of course, at every IU game after the game with Todd Leary. Armand Franklin, he's not forcing anything. He's have a good start to the season. He's doing the things that you would expect from him. He had 3 turnovers tonight, but so did Al Durham. Those were the highs for the team. 13 total turnovers for this team tonight. A little bit higher than you'd like to see, but not too much.
Yeah, it's not. And I'm telling you, there's 2 very talented guards on that North Alabama team. Now, they're going to play a lot of teams that have very talented guards, so that's a big part of it. But you got a 5'9" guard that's very quick on the other team that he's defending, and it just makes it very difficult for them to come out and be able to not get out. He had 4 fouls tonight. That's a tough situation. The speed is catching up with him just a little bit, and he'll get more used to it. At 6 foot 3 or 4 or whatever he is, I mean, he's long and lanky out there, and he doesn't ever look slow or like he's behind out there at all. So I don't think anyone would tell you from a coaching staff's perspective that they're not pleased, if anything else, with what they're getting out of Armand.
We've talked a little bit about Trace Jackson Davis tonight, but let's go ahead and focus on him right now. Career high 20 points. It's only the 3rd game, but a career high 20 points. 3 of 4 on free throw field goals, like you said. But he has 20 points.
Right.
He got all of his work at the free throw line, but which means he was very busy down in the paint, attacking a team that just could not keep up with their size. But he came through. He did what he needed to do, and that's asking a lot for a freshman, but he's taking that load on his shoulders.
Yeah, he is. And he is Indiana has been – the rebounding number surprised me tonight. I thought it would be a bigger difference or bigger margin for Indiana in rebounding because it really seemed like offensively they were on the glass. I thought Justin Smith did a good job of getting his hand on a lot of balls. I thought that Trace Jackson Davis did a great job on Race Thompson again tonight, and they're doing a great job on the boards. He had 4 rebounds, but it seems like I can remember all 4 of them because they were all hustle plays, and that's another guy. 17 minutes out of him tonight. Well, I tell you what, they're getting some great play out of Race Thompson, and I know the coaching staff expects it. The fan base has been waiting to see it, and I think we're only going to see better and better things coming out of Race Thompson. He's been my bright spot and the guy I've been the most excited to watch play when he's been out on the court.
Yeah, he's fun. He's putting out the effort. You can tell he's having fun.
Yep.
He is loving being out there.
Yep.
That's the one thing you can tell. He's just enjoying the heck out of playing basketball, as is Jerome Hunter. And Jerome Hunter had a nice night tonight. Career high for him, 12 points, because he has not gotten to play before this year. 4 of 9 from the field, 1 of 4 behind the 3-point line, 3 of 4 at the free throw line. He's struggling a little bit behind the arc. He's trying to put those shots up. He's a good shooter, but they haven't quite started falling yet. But I think that's just a matter of time of him getting comfortable of being out there.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I mean, he's been sitting out a full year, and not getting to play any game speed is very difficult. I know I had a redshirt year, so I know it's very difficult to do. And He is a guy that I think Indiana fans have been super excited to see get out there on the court. I'm telling you, 3 games into it, I am insanely pleased with how comfortable he looked out there on the court, and I think that's only going to continue to get better. He's a guy they're going to count on. There's no doubt about it. They're going to look for him when things. I think there'll be some games we're talking about him as the leading scorer for Indiana, and his athletic ability and able to put guys in defensive situations that cause them to get in foul trouble. I think Indiana fans will be looking for a lot out of Jerome this year.
DeMezy Anderson, another guy that we've been waiting to see how he's going to come along, and not a bad night tonight for DeMezy. 10 points, he gets in double figures. He was 4 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 behind the three-point line as well. He didn't get to the free throw line, but in 19 minutes, that's a pretty good outing for him, and that's exactly what they need for him. They need for him to be able to hit some of those shots out there and draw that defense out, and he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would tell you that DeMezy is going to be the defensive stopper for Indiana. I think defense is probably where he struggles or lacks right now as much as anywhere, but offensively is not. He's a guy that can come in and score baskets in a hurry. He can get hot. When he does get hot, he can score from anywhere. So that's a good thing, and Indiana obviously can use that.
We're going to see if Jessica could go round up
I'll go grab them.
The guys. And,
I just saw some of the assistant coaches walk in too, so
have them come over.
I'll go grab them. Be right back.
All right. We're going to have some special guests on here tonight. George Leach is in the house. Jeff Newton's in the house, both former Hoosiers playing here. Todd's going to go over and grab some. He just said he saw some assistant coaches stepping in, so we'll see who he can grab. But Indiana wins tonight, 91-65. But, of course, with all that, the biggest story right now is what happened in Lexington, Kentucky, as the Wildcats lose to Evansville, and their former player Walter McCarty is their coach. But what a shocker that was. Kentucky #1 in the country right now after beating Michigan State in that opening big game. Big stage, but yet at home they end up losing to Evansville. What a shocker. But instead of Todd going to get to the big east end and talking to somebody, I don't know how long he thinks I can carry this on. But and we appreciate everybody joining us tonight. We're coming to you live from Yogi's, where we will be from now on each and every game after the IU basketball games, after the game with Todd and Leary. No more Wi-Fi problems after that, I hope. Gee whiz, that was a rough start to tonight. But Indiana's 3 games in now. They're 3-0. They're looking to move to 4-0 on Saturday when Troy comes in. I think they're in the same conference as North Alabama because they're on their schedule, I noticed, and obviously both from the state of Alabama. And then also some football news. Indiana, the college football playoff poll came out again tonight. The second one, Indiana made it in to the top 25 this week. So that's a first for the Hoosiers to get into that action. But the SEC, they're looking strong right now. Georgia picked into that 4th spot. LSU moved up to the top. Now you've got Clemson in there at number 3 and the Ohio State Buckeyes at number 2. But all that is subject to change as the season progresses because Ohio State is yet to play Penn State. You've got Minnesota, who's got to play Iowa and Wisconsin yet. And then if they win the West Division, which I think that they will, they'll be playing, more than likely Ohio State. We don't know that for a fact, but probably be Ohio State and Minnesota playing for the Big Ten Championship in Indianapolis. And whether or not the Big Ten can get 2 teams in to the college football playoffs is probably going to come down to who wins that game. I think Minnesota has to win the Big Ten Championship, go undefeated to get that done. So George Leach coming over, joining. You get Todd. Here, Todd, I'm going to slide over, let you come on in here.
This makes the interview a little bit better, all right?
There you go. It's all right. We're all right. George Leach, former Indiana Hoosier. Now, the king of the barbecues kings now. Him and Jeff Newton down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Ooey Barbecue. You guys are in town to do the big event, I think, on Saturday for those Hoosier Hysterics guys. But looking forward to that. What's been going on with you?
Oh, man, just working, having kids,
Family life.
Yeah, family life. It's good, though. It's good.
What's it like coming back to campus? I know you've probably been back more than once. But
yeah, this is probably my third time. I came with my wife the past 2 times. This time I'm here, and it should be here at the end of the weekend, end of the week or whatever. But it's been good, man. It's different. Everything looks new. It's like, well, wait, I went to class here, right? What is this building? So but it's cool to see everything, how everything's grown up, how everything's, completely different.
Absolutely. I don't think I could get around without a roadmap. I went to school here before you, so it's even older. But now you're in the barbecue business. First of all, how did you and Jeff get into doing that together?
Oh, man. So Jeff was still playing. I was already home for about a year. I had torn my Achilles tendon. And it was time to go ahead and figure something out. And I had this crazy scheme. I was actually barbecuing in my driveway in a cast. In a cast. And our HOA was like, hey, you want to start cooking at the pool? I'm like, sure. Made a decent amount of money and bought us a food truck, and then, did good. And then one led to two led to a shop. Shop led to NASCAR. We haven't looked back
Talk
since.
about the NASCAR connection.
Yeah, so, I don't want to paint it like, NASCAR's like what we do and what's our end all be all. We're not the official barbecue of NASCAR. We're just the barbecue that does all their official events. So, but, it's good. It's a blessing to have the opportunity. We get to serve a lot of people, which leads to caterings, to leads to, getting in different kind of NASCAR teams. All those guys have like 400 up 100 people in each facility. So, you get a gig going there once, twice a year. There's people, at least 3 or 4 people are going to call you for return business. So it's good.
I'm going to hook you up with my brother. My brother's a state trooper down in Charlotte,
on.
the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
So we'll get you guys hooked up. And talk about how, because that's got to be fun, because you get to meet a lot of people. I mean, obviously you're making money and doing things, but it's meeting the people. It's got to be a big part of the fun.
It's cool. I've kind of changed my role a little bit. Jeff is more of the operations guy. I cook and book everything, but occasionally, I get on the truck and just interact with people. It's good. It kind of keeps us balanced to where, with basketball, you play and then you have to do your stuff outside of basketball. You got to do your PR and stuff like that too. So that's kind of, I like interacting with people. You get to see that people actually like your food. They don't care about you shooting a damn ball. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with that. It's like, we actually like your food, We like you cook for our daughter's wedding. That means a lot to me, so.
Now, do you guys have a bunch of different types? Talking about the different types you have. It's Ooey barbecue, right?
Yeah, it's Ooey barbecue. As far as like the food realm of it, we're not generic, but we keep it simple. Pork, chicken, salmon, brisket. We have some of the best brisket, some of the best salmon you will have. You can get pork anywhere. Our pork is good. Chicken is chicken to me. This is me. Our sauce is different. Our sauce is like, if you're from North Carolina, east and west, right? Vinegar-based, tomato-based, a lot of the red pepper kind of stuff. But I grew up vinegar-based. So I wanted a healthy mix, of everything, east meets west type of thing. So I made my sauce a little bit thicker. It is vinegar-based. But you can get that little bite at the end, a little sweet and heated at the other end of it. So we kind of try to keep that spectrum of barbecue sauce for our business.
Talking with former Hoosier George Leach. You're originally from Charlotte, right?
Yes, sir. One of those.
How did you end up in Indiana?
Coach Knight. He came to my house, man. I stood with my dad. He was like, damn, I got Coach Knight in my house. What am I going to tell the boys about this?
I've got to hear the recruiting story, because I've heard all these different recruiting stories from either Todd or Michael Lewis, and they're all, half the time they're funny. With Michael, he said they had a meeting in his office in Assembly Hall. His parents were there. He walked in. He said, Michael, would you like to play basketball in Indiana? He goes, yeah, that'd be kind of good. He goes, all right. Slapped him on the back, said, I'll have my people talk to you. And that was it. That was the entire pitch.
It's crazy. It's like, you hear the stories from the Indiana guys, and then you got us out-of-state guys. It's like, how y'all get up here, And when you get a guy like that, he makes an impression on you. It's like, a lot of coaches came in the house. My mom's a big-time cook, big-time baker, so everybody came there to eat pretty much. But Coach Knight really came there to convince my parents that, hey, your son is coming halfway across this United States, coming up north, and they're cold, and I'm going to take care of him. I'm going to make sure he gets his degree, and then he's going to become a good basketball player. So, my parents trust me. My dad's retired Army, so I grew up in that kind of structure, so that worked for me. So.
And you were there, of course, during a very difficult time for all the players. Of course, you were there when Coach Knight got fired from Indiana, which was a difficult time. And now there's a lot of times we see him in and around Bloomington. He actually came to a baseball game last year, which is good to see for the fans. And he's bought a house here in Bloomington. I'm not sure if he's living here yet or not. But
he is. I heard he's living a few doors down from Hornsby.
Is that right? So
yeah.
I didn't realize Hornsby lived here. So.
Yeah, he lives here. Yeah.
So very cool. But that had to be just a special time for you, getting to play for an Indiana type program under Bob Knight.
Yeah.
That had to be pretty cool.
It was cool. Like I was talking to, I come back every year to see. Well, not every year. Whenever I come back, I make it a point to see Tim Garrell. Like, he's the father figure of this team. He's the constant median of Indiana basketball to me. So
You're not the first person to tell me that.
People don't understand like that. He need to retire, sit down somewhere. He getting old, and Tim's just there for him. So he fills me in on everything. What's going on, how's coach doing, and just you don't get that everywhere.
Right.
So
what's the best part of having played at Indiana for you?
Just a family. It's crazy. It's like, me, the guys my year, like, Mike Roberts, we call him Boss. Y'all call him Mike Roberts. Coverdale, Odell, Dane, Hornsby, it's always like it's all pick up where we left off. Me and Jeff still best friends, work together every day, and kill each other. We still talk to Cub, we still, Indiana basketball like that kind of thing where you don't have a name on the back of your jersey. You're going out there fighting for each other. It's not about recognition for yourself from when we played. It's about going out there fighting for each other and just developing camaraderie and just believing each other. So
now you got a big event Saturday. That's the Hoosier Hysterics just put that event together at the Bluebird, and you're cooking for that. Though you guys are cooking. That's got to be a lot of pressure, but cooking for all the Indiana people.
I love what I do. Barbecue is like my. I don't know. It's tougher than basketball. Believe that or not. I love to do it. I wake up every day. I get to take my kids to school, go to my shop, cook for people, pick my kids up from school, and then think about what I'm gonna do, to make this thing better. So, it is 1,000 people. We are prepared. We don't just take things lightly. This is a big deal. I was blessed enough to have Eric Pentecostal said he talked to Jeff first about doing the podcast, and I've been busy with me. I don't have time to do a podcast, man. And then he was like, man, I want to get this done. And then first it was like 120 people, and then it turned to almost 1,000. And it's like, another day at NASCAR for us, but at the same time, it's like, I'm excited to let people know what we're doing. They get to taste what we've been doing. This isn't just two guys coming up with some stuff on the smoker. Now, this is thought out, streamlined business that we're going to serve to you guys as fast as we can in 3-4 hours. And the quality of the product is not going to drop. That's what we do.
I'm looking forward to trying it, man. I've heard so much about it. Talking to Todd so much, one of the things that he always talks about is lessons that he learned from Coach Knight when he played basketball that he still uses in his life today, preparing to fail, doing all these different things. Are there any lessons that you brought from that you use every day?
The way I discipline my kids. Let me explain that.
Yeah, you better put a caveat on that one.
Look, so when we were in practice sometimes, right, so Coach Knight would be like, take a knee, right? And sometimes, he might grab that jersey every now and then, take a knee. So my oldest, I got lucky. I got a uniform for kids. Like they are great. The new baby is awful.
How many kids you got?
2, a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old 30-pound monster. But my oldest is a unicorn. But sometimes, he's a boy, so he gets a little, out of line sometimes. Not bad, where it's, he doesn't bash with public. But I'm gonna take a knee. I grab that shirt, and that's it. And he gets it. Like sometimes, like it's not. What I learned with Coach Knight and the small time I played for him is it's not how he's saying, it's what he's saying. Like, he wouldn't waste his time talking to you like that. And some people just can't handle it. Too soft. I grew up in a different environment. So I like that, and those type of things would be instilled in my kids. So
yeah, I think most people, myself included, grew up in that time. It was a different environment. You were used to coaches handling things in a different way, and some people couldn't handle that. But it's like you said, it's the lesson that's trying to be imparted upon them.
It's crazy how these guys have birth dates on a team right now. They have no idea who Coach Knight is. It's like, man, you don't even know.
It's crazy. Speaking of this team, you got a chance to watch it. You were at the
I
game
did.
tonight. What do you think of the team? A lot of young, some really talented young players on there. Trace Jackson Davis, a big night for him as a freshman. Big night as a freshman for him.
Yeah, you kind of want to see how you kind of play against, different competition, right? So you want to play, we're Indiana, so we're supposed to be on Indiana's level, So when you play down to the level of your competition, it kind of shows what you are. At first, we started off slow and then we kept coming back, which is what we should have did. But the guys are young. I look at it from a big standpoint. I want the ball. So the game is different nowadays. You have to look at it in a whole nother fashion of how basketball is being played. More perimeter. We're a bigger team than I thought we were going to be. It's a big team down there. So I felt as though everything's going in the right direction. Which is that's all you can hope. It takes time to rebuild. Like, yeah, we are in basketball, but do we want a bunch of one-and-dones to be done? Like, I'm a 4-year guy. 5-year, shit. I mean, sorry.
It's all right. We're not on radio right now. We're online. You can say it. Yeah,
right.
We're online. You can say whatever you want.
I'm a red shirt. I played all my years here. I got my degree from here. So I had good years, good team.
It makes a difference in a team as far as chemistry over those couple of years of getting things going. That you see so many of those one and dones. Not in Indiana necessarily. But
you don't see it in Indiana. Indiana's one of those still traditional schools, which is great. And if that's what Indiana is what Indiana is. It's our identity, call it that. So, maybe we'll, I'm pretty sure we're recruiting everything. We will allure another one and done, whatever kind of guy coming in. So I'm sure we will. It's Indiana basketball. We should. So.
Now, do you guys have any on your barbecue? You have any sauces that you sell? Can people buy them online? And how can they get to them? What's because I'm gonna pump this out, man. We're gonna get this on social media.
The website is eatweebarbecue.com. That's EAT 3 O's WEEBBQ.com. We are working on our online merchandise site right now. We brought here to Indiana with us 200 shirts. They have our slogan, "You name it, we smoke it," which people get a kick out of that. Our logo on the back. We have
selling those.
Yeah, we're selling those. We have our Carolina dry rub. We have our salt rub. So we have 2 rubs. We have our barbecue sauce as well. So we have 3 things that people can come in and. Not if you want to cook like us, but these things go on every single thing you cook every single day. Even if you're frying an egg on a pan, you can use something on there to enhance your meal. So
we'll get that on. We'll get this on our website. We'll get this stuff posted out. So
sure.
If you're looking for the Wee Barbecue, you're gonna be able to find it on Indiana Sports. We'll put that out there for you, man. George, I cannot thank you so much. George Leach, former Indiana Hoosier. I appreciate you joining us and look forward to seeing you this week. We'll be around. So
I'm excited.
Thanks a lot for joining us and get that barbecue ready, man.
Oh, yeah, be ready.
All right. There's George Leach, former Indiana Hoosier, joining us right now. We're trying to get Jeff over here. Is he still over there?
Good luck.
He's ready. Get him over there. Is Jeff still over there? Okay. Never mind. All right, Todd's going to come back in instead. 10 and 4 p.m. That's perfect. Todd jumping back in here now. George Leach. Fun talking to George Leach, Big George, man. Got the barbecue going, but man, he follows IU basketball still.
He's just a good dude. I mean, he's all around one of those people that's solid, and Indiana fans probably didn't get to know enough about him. There was too much coaching malarkey going on during his time here and all that. And it just, a lot of the team stuff got overshadowed at that point. But George is a good person, and he's doing a great job with what they're doing. They're very proud of it, which makes it fun to listen to him talk about it. And they're really excited about a huge event coming this weekend. So
1,000 people, man.
Yeah, that's insane.
He said that's another NASCAR event for us, but we're taking it serious. He's very serious about it. I mean, they're very serious about what they do. They're proud of what they do, and as they should be, because it's probably a great product.
Yep.
So looking forward to it.
We'll see. We'll be tasting the heck out of that.
I cannot wait, man. It's like we're at Yogi's here tonight, so we can taste the. I cannot wait to eat the Cajun chicken fingers later, but looking forward to that. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up for us here tonight.
It should. I'm sure people are tired of hearing about stuff.
But we're going to be back on Saturday. No internet problems on Saturday. If I have to run a line in from the telephone pole, that drove me insane. But we appreciate everybody joining us tonight, man. A ton of you guys joining us. We appreciate you. We'll end up having at least one, if not multiple, special guests on Saturday. I'm quite certain of that.
We'll have a bunch.
Which we're always going to try to do that. We'll always try to have some special guests here, especially now that we're Yogis.
No offense taken. I'm good.
Well, you're already special.
Oh, thank you.
That's why it's special guests. Like Jessica's a special guest.
Okay.
There's a big difference.
Moving on.
But we appreciate everybody joining us. We'll be back here on Saturday, of course, from Yogis after the game. Indiana plays. That game's an 8 o'clock game, isn't it?
Yes.
So we get to watch some football. Indiana playing Penn State at noon. So everybody gets to chill out and watch some football and see what Indiana can do. Take a nap, rest up, go to basketball, and then come to Yogis. You can come to Yogis and watch the game. If you're not going to the game, come to Yogis, check it out. Some great food.
We'll be here right after halftime. We can hang with you in the second half.
We'll be right here, man. But for Todd Leary, I'm Jim Coyle. Have a great night. We appreciate you, and I'll see you on the radio.